What's up, Star Wars fans? My name is Prince, and I am an urban acolyte. And this is a follow-up video to my review of the Star Wars Rebels Season 3 finale. So check out that video if you haven't seen it, because I'm going to get deeper into an idea that I presented over on that video. And that was specifically when I mentioned how I think that the Empire helped bring itself down. Now I want to touch on that, but what I really want to talk about is how I think the Empire will bring about Thrawn's demise. Okay, so in the 0 Hour episode, we saw that the rebels were not ready for all-out warfare against the Empire. We saw that Thrawn was always a step ahead of them. Thrawn used the knowledge of Kallus being fulcrum against Kallus and the rebels, and of course, he was monitoring General Dodonna's ship movements. Thrawn took all of that information, paired them with old star charts captured in old artwork on Lothal, and found the location of the rebel base on Adolin. Now, Thrawn arrived with a fleet of ships prepared to squash what he believed to be the entire rebel fleet. Now, my point is that Thrawn was on the attack, and had it not been for Constantine and later Bendu making it possible for Ezra to escape and return with Mandalorian reinforcements, Phoenix and Green Squadron would have been crushed. The skirmish at Adolin would have seen the end of 2 rebel cells, and based on Ezra's conversation with Mon Mothma, well, she'd already thrown in the towel. She pretty much said, "It's a wrap for you guys. We'll negotiate with the Empire for fair treatment of the prisoners." Now, all along, we knew that it was Thrawn's intentions to create a scenario where he could gather all of the rebel fleet and crush them in one fell swoop. The thing is, this didn't happen, and the reason this didn't happen is because of the power games at play by Thrawn's subordinates. These are the same power games that you see, whether it be in other movies and books, like in Rogue One and Catalyst, respectively. I mean, just look at what's going on between Tarkin and Krennic. You can also see it with other Imperial officers bucking up to Vader following their defeat at Yavin IV in the first Vader comic book series. I mean, it's because the Empire is like this big, uncaring, bureaucratic machine, and really, I think that's what pushed Kallus to defect and join the rebels as a fulcrum agent. I mean, that's not the way things work with the Lothal rebels. I mean, the Ghost Crew in particular, because they're more like a family. They care about each other. They believe in their mission, and they believe in what they're doing. Now, this caring attitude actually exists on both sides, so don't get me wrong here. I don't want to paint a false picture of the Empire. There are other people like Kallus who also believed in the Empire. They believe in what they're doing as part of the Empire. But unfortunately, some of those people, just like Kallus, became disillusioned with the orders that they were given and the outcome of those orders. And they lost faith in their work, and they ultimately lost faith in the Empire. Thane Kyrell is an example, or another example, of someone who loses faith in the Empire. He believed in the Empire, and he couldn't wait for Grand Moff Tarkin to come to his home planet on Jellican and bring the Empire. But he grew up to become disillusioned shortly after the destruction of Alderaan. But there are other people on the other side of the aisle. Think of Thane's childhood friend and his lover, Sienna Ree. She also believed in the Empire to the very end. Sienna acknowledged that the Empire is not perfect, and she believed that there are good people who can make the Empire better. Sienna believed in the Empire, and she stayed until Thane literally dragged her from her Star Destroyer, kicking and screaming, just before it crashed during the Battle of Jakku. Now, we also have possibly the next Grand Admiral after Thrawn, and that's Grand Admiral Rae Sloane. She also believed in the Empire. She saw the Empire as liberators, and she wants to rebuild a new order, and her first order will be to rise from the ashes and rebuild a better empire. See what I did there with the First Order? So not everyone serving the Empire is like some jerk-faced dickbag, but some of those people, well, they become disillusioned. And some of those jerk-faced dickbags will be the reason that the Empire will ultimately fail. I mean, look at what happened in the 0 Hour episode. Constantine tells Thrawn that he doesn't want to play Thrawn's political games anymore, so he attempts to take a victory for himself, and in the process, he gets a ship destroyed, and he gives Ezra the opening to eventually destroy the other gravity well so that the rebels can escape to fight another day. I mean, think about it. Thrawn has them on the ropes, and all Constantine had to do was follow orders. Now see, this is why I believe that the greedy infighting in the Empire will bring about the downfall of the Empire, just as much as Palpatine's misguided confidence in his own abilities brought about his own downfall. I mean, Palpatine was so focused on achieving unlimited power for a second time by destroying the Last Jedi, well, that he was completely unable to sense the spark of light that remained, which allowed Anakin Skywalker to return and save the Last Jedi, his son, Luke Skywalker. So, am I saying that Thrawn's oversight will lead to his betrayal by his subordinates too? Well, in a sense, yes I am. I mean, despite being the Grand Admiral of the Imperial Navy and one of the highest ranked people in the entire Imperial machine, Thrawn is very much an outsider. From what I've gathered so far, the attitude towards aliens and humanoids working for the Empire is, well, that they're better heard but not seen. Thrawn rose from a total stranger to the highest ranked military officer in a very short time span, and he managed to get as close to the Emperor as probably anyone else who isn't named Tarkin, Maz Amida, Sly, whatever her name is, or one of Palpatine's Sith cultists posing as one of his advisors. I mean, if we look at someone like an Orson Krennic, well, he would be extremely jealous of someone like Thrawn. And then think about Thrawn. I mean, this guy is on top of everything. He literally has the Emperor by the balls, as he possesses a vital part of Palpatine's future plans. And that's, well, the knowledge of hyperspace lanes to traverse the unknown regions of space. Now, if you're wondering where I'm drawing all of this information from, well, it's in Aftermath, Empire's End, and the released bits from Timothy Zahn's new Thrawn novel, which will occur between the events in the Tarkin novel and the New Dawn novel that kicks off the Rebels' adventures. So what am I proposing? I mean, where am I going with all of this, really? Well, I want you to think back to the statement made by the Bendu at the conclusion of the 0 Hour episode. Bendu said that Thrawn's defeat will be like many arms surrounding him in a cold embrace. Now, perhaps there will literally be a cold embrace. Thrawn might get jettisoned into space, or maybe he freezes to death somewhere like Hoth or on Ilum, or it could literally be the cold embrace of death. I mean, regardless of how this actually happens, I think Thrawn is going to be betrayed, and his betrayal will be due to his desire to carry out the Emperor's plans. I mean, think of the Ides of March with Julius Caesar. I mean, I think Thrawn has reached a point where, well, he's riding so hard for the Emperor's goals, which actually coincide with Thrawn's own goals, and whatever Thrawn's goals are, we'll have to learn in the Thrawn novel in about 2 weeks. But he won't see the people plotting right behind his back. So I think I see a mutiny occurring. Now, mutiny, insubordination, failure to follow a lawful order during times of war, those are punishable by death. And I'm talking about in the real world, not just on Star Wars. The thing is, when the mutiny isn't just from the bottom, but also involves people at the top, well, then someone can literally get away with murder. I think Thrawn poses a threat to everyone, and they will all want to see his head removed. And you know what? I guess that statement presents a very cool possibility that I honestly just now considered. I mean, think about what Constantine did. He literally sabotaged Thrawn's effort to take out Phoenix and Green Squadron and capture Kanan Jarrus, a Jedi Knight, Captain Hera Syndulla, and General Dodonna. I mean, these are key people in the Rebel Alliance. And as far as the Empire knows, Thrawn just failed at destroying the entire Rebel fleet, and he allowed them to escape. What if other people under Thrawn's command continue to sabotage his efforts? I mean, Tarkin is not above working behind the scenes to sabotage someone for his own benefit. If you're in the blue on that one, just read what he did to Krennic in the Catalyst novel. I mean, Tarkin made it possible for the Erso family to escape and stay hidden from Krennic for several years. And think about how long that stalled the plans on the Death Star, which Tarkin was in on from day one. I mean, talk about petty, right? So if Thrawn continues to produce string after string after string of failure, well, I think it might warrant a visit from Darth Vader and the loss of his head. And that would be a pretty cool way to end Season 4 and explain why there's no Grand Admiral Thrawn at the Battle of Scarif or in the original trilogy. And that's because, well, Tarkin brought about Thrawn's fall from grace, which ends in his execution from his good old friend Darth Vader, who he previously knew as Anakin Skywalker. And Thrawn totally knows that Anakin became Vader, on top of everything. But what do you all think? Do you think we could see some kind of rivalry between Tarkin and Thrawn in Season 4 of Star Wars Rebels? And how would you feel about some kind of duel ending in Thrawn's execution at the hands of Darth Vader? So let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and I'll be checking back to see what you have to say. If you haven't subscribed already, go ahead, click on the subscribe button, and take your first steps towards becoming an urban acolyte. Use your love for Star Wars to become a literal force for change in your community. Also, make sure to check back for my next video where I'll share my thoughts on Ezra Bridger in Season 4 and beyond on Star Wars Rebels. Also, don't forget about my Cheered Imwe video that'll go live next week when the Rogue One Blu-ray is released. And while you wait on those videos to post, be sure to check out my video on Leia and Snoke's relationship, or check out my video on Luke Skywalker being the chosen one. Well, that's all I got for now, so thanks for watching. Y'all keep on breathing, and may the force of others be with you. Always.